Dearest listener, today's story is about a beautiful young girl named Avery, who was rejected at first sight by her long-awaited mate. Forced to stay in the pack, she learns of a deadly plot to kill her and overthrow him. Will her mate protect the woman that fate chose for him, or will he let his hatred cost him everything? Get comfy and grab your favorite snack. Let's find out.
I've waited for this night my whole life, and this is what I get? My stomach twisted as Alpha Xavier sized me up with his dark green eyes, his face a mix of disgust and disappointment. I, Alpha Xavier Scott of Blood Moon Pack, reject you, Avery Thompson of Shadowed Pack, as my mate and Luna. His words hit me like a ton of bricks. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. 1,000 eyes bore into me, whispers filling the air. I had prayed to the moon goddess my whole life for a mate, someone to end my suffering. And now this? How could he reject me at first sight? And how did he even know my name? No. My trembling lips barely formed the words as tears blurred my vision. With one final glance, he stormed past me, shoving me aside. I hit the floor, pain shooting up my spine, but it was nothing compared to the unbearable tug in my heart. Get up, loser. What do you have to brag about now? Lillian sneered, an evil grin spreading across her face. She had caused most of my suffering. Everyone hated me for no reason. I had never wronged them. Was it a crime to be born? I scrambled to my feet, the weight of Xavier's rejection crashing down on me. I turned and ran out of the hall, their laughter echoing behind me. I ran as fast as I could, desperate to escape the people who had never loved me. There were other Omegas in the pack, yet they chose to mistreat only me, for reasons only they knew. The dark forest swallowed me. The crescent moon barely penetrated the dense canopy overhead. I tripped on a root and dropped to my knees, my emotions overwhelming me. How could you be so cruel? I wailed, my voice echoing through the trees as tears streamed down my face. The wind howled as if sympathizing with me. I worshipped you day and night. I endured all their torment because I believed you had something better in store for me. And this is what I get. Why did he reject me? What did I ever do to him? Answer me. My voice cracked as I collapsed, gasping for breath. A sharp pain pulsed through my head, my eyelids heavy as I struggled to open them. I lay on a soft mattress, my body feeling like dead weight. My legs refused to move. Shit. I muttered under my breath, forcing myself to sit up. Don't push yourself, Avery. A soothing voice reached me, and I blinked my eyes open. A middle-aged woman in a white nurse's uniform smiled warmly at me. You'll be fine soon, okay? She reassured me. It was the first time someone had spoken to me with such kindness. I wasn't used to it, only yelling in orders. Who are you? My voice was barely a whisper. I'm Nurse Amanda. You're in Blood Moon Pack, she said, her smile unwavering. My gaze darted around. I was in a hospital room. Then her words sank in, Blood Moon Pack. The last thing I remembered, I was in the forest, crying my eyes out when the scent of rogues filled my nostrils. I had staggered to my feet as their eerie howls sent chills down my spine. Then, I saw them, amber eyes glowing between the trees. A scream tore from my throat as 3 rogues lunged at me. I sat up abruptly, ignoring the throbbing pain in my head. I need to leave, I said, swinging my legs over the side of the bed. Where are you going? The Alpha ordered me to take care of you. Nurse Amanda said. I don't care. I snapped, anger rising in me. Tell your Alpha I don't need his help. She stepped in front of me. You need to rest, Avery. Your wounds are deep, and they aren't healing quickly. It doesn't matter. Move. I demanded, but she didn't budge. I can't. The Alpha will have my head if I let you leave. He wouldn't do that, and you can't keep me here against my will. I argued, pushing past her. I ignored the pain pounding in my skull and rushed to the door. Please, Avery. You can't leave. She begged, running after me. I yanked the door open, and froze. Alpha Xavier stood there, his piercing gaze locking me in place. Go lie down, he commanded, his voice laced with authority. A strange force made me step back. His stare never wavered, but I refused to let him intimidate me. You can't force me. I stammered, my heart pounding. I don't like repeating myself. He growled, his low voice sending a shiver down my spine. I retreated until I stepped on Nurse Amanda's foot. Xavier gestured for her to leave, and she obeyed, shutting the door behind her. Sit, he ordered. My body moved before I could resist. I sat down, obeying the same man who had rejected me. I had no shame, or maybe I had no voice of my own. Why couldn't I meet his gaze and tell him that rejecting me didn't make him superior? He sat beside me on the edge of the bed. My stomach churned as I felt his eyes on me. "How did you get scratched?" he asked. I snapped my gaze to him. What's that supposed to mean? My own defiance surprised me. I hadn't expected to raise my voice at him. He tilted his head slightly, making my breath hitch. I had rarely seen handsome men in shadowed pack, maybe because I had always been too afraid to look. "I don't like repeating myself," he said again. "And yet, you just did." I retorted. "Why won't you let me leave? You rejected me. What more do you want?" "You haven't accepted the rejection," he said. A lump formed in my throat. I never thought I'd have to do this, but I had no choice. Avery Thompson. He raised a finger, silencing me. "You belong with me, Avery Thompson," he said, his voice firm. "I rejected you, but you have no right to accept it." He moved closer, leaning into the crook of my neck. I flinched, trying to pull away, but he pinned me in place. My breath hitched as his warm breath fanned against my skin. "You're mine," he whispered. I gasped as his fangs sank into my flesh. A powerful surge of energy rushed through me as the mate bond snapped into place. He sealed the mark with his tongue, his eyes meeting mine just before darkness consumed me. "You have no right over me," I yelled as Xavier shut the door behind us. I was much better now, yet he still insisted I remain in his pack, in his damn room. "I hate you, Xavier. You were the one who rejected me. What gave you the guts to put your mark on me?" He walked past me to the bed, sat down, and took off his shoes. "Do you ever stop to ask why I rejected you?" he asked, glancing at me. "You're weak, defenseless, and above all, cheap. I didn't mark you because I want you as my mate. I did it because I want you to feel the pain that comes with it. I'll make you regret not closing these two legs of yours," he said, his voice laced with malice. Tears rolled down my face, my heart breaking into a million pieces. "You'll punish me before even getting to know me?" My voice trembled, emotions swirling inside me. "I thought Alpha Sean was wicked, but you're worse. How could you believe what they tell you? You know what? I don't blame you. I blame the moon goddess for pairing us. And if you think punishing me is the right thing, then so be it. Go have your fun and let me suffer for it," I poured out. Then flitted to the vanity table, wiping my tears. I sat on the bed, staring blankly at the walls. Xavier had left the room since our argument, and I hadn't seen him since. Every time I thought about his reasons for rejecting me, my lungs constricted, and I found myself crying over and over again. I had cried to the point where my eyes were bloodshot and aching. Why couldn't anybody love me? Why would my mate want to hurt me because of hearsay? What did I ever do to deserve this? "Miss Avery?" A voice and a tap on my shoulder jolted me from my thoughts. I turned to meet the eyes of a woman holding a tray of food. "I brought your dinner." She placed the tray on a stool and moved it over to me. "I'm not hungry." "Take it away," I said, sniffing and wiping my tears. "You need to eat, Miss Avery. You've been rejecting all your meals today. The Alpha is going to get angry if you fall sick again." "To hell with your Alpha," I snapped, losing my temper. She trembled, stunned. "Take this damn food out of my face." She took the tray, spun around, and headed out. "Oh!" A sharp cry tore through me as waves of pain sliced through my abdomen. I crumpled. "Are you okay?" The woman rushed to hold me up. Another agonized cry escaped my lips, and I dropped to my knees on the floor, slouching and wailing. Sweat beaded on my forehead, my body growing hot. "I'll go get Nurse Amanda," the woman said, jerking up to leave. "Don't!" I cried out, my chest heaving. "It's my punishment. Don't call her." I whimpered, curling up on the floor and writhing. "What do you mean?" "Close the door behind you." I tried to contain the pain. I had endured the tortures of Alpha Sean since I was younger, but none of those injuries had ever hurt as much as the splitting pain in my abdomen. "I can't leave you alone." "Get lost," I groaned, turning onto my back, clenching my toes. Through my blurred vision, I saw her rushing out and shutting the door behind her. I could hear their moans in my head, making it ache. I hate you, Xavier. I hate you so much." I whimpered, my breath coming in short gasps. I was drenched in my own sweat, my body growing weaker until darkness consumed me. When I regained consciousness the next day, Xavier was seated beside me, his eyes locking with mine as I looked at him.
"How was your night?" he asked. "Hope you had fun," I retorted, sitting up. "She sent her regards." I rolled my eyes. "I want to go out," I said, my voice barely audible.
I'm not used to being confined in a room.
"At least allow me to see your environment. I promise I'll be back before you know it."
"No," he said curtly, picking up his phone as it beeped with a message.
"Please, Xavier. I need some fresh air. Don't be too heartless. After torturing me, I need some freedom."
"As long as you remain mine, freedom is something you won't taste,"
he declared. "When you had it, you misused it."
"What were you expecting, opening your legs for your alpha? You think I'll adore and love you for not keeping yourself for your mate? Every time I think about how many times you slept with that maniac, I feel disgusted. You're young, but loose. If mates weren't destined by the moon goddess, I would never have looked your way."
"I won't try to defend myself,"
I muttered, fighting back my tears. "It's obvious the person who fed you this information did a good job. It's up to you to believe whatever you want."
"I don't care anymore. And you can keep torturing me like you did last night. I won't ever beg you to stop. You're shameless," he groaned. "I curse the day the moon goddess paired us. And you think I don't curse every second of that day?"
I shot back, scrambling out of bed. "You're worse than a beast, Xavier. You claim I'm loose, but what do you think of yourself?"
"You're a Casanova,"
I scorned, dashing into the bathroom and locking the door. I gasped the moment I stepped out of the bathroom to find Xavier standing right in front of me.
His piercing eyes burned through me.
"Do you want to know what a Casanova does to his women?" he asked, closing the distance between us. I wanted to escape back into the bathroom, but he grabbed my arm, pulling me into him.
My heart caught in my throat.
"You act like you hate me," he murmured, his fingers sliding down my arm, leaving a trail of heat.
"But I can hear your heartbeat.
I can smell what you really want. Let me go." I tried to push him away, but he was unyielding.
"Tell me you don't feel this."
His lips brushed my ear, sending shivers down my spine. "Tell me you don't crave me, even when you hate me."
"Leave me alone, Xavier."
"I'm going to scream," I warned, forgetting he was the alpha and everyone in the pack was answerable to him. A smile flashed across his face. He gripped my waist, pulling me closer against him.
A shiver ran through me at the contact. "You're trembling," he said.
I gasped as his lips pressed against mine, his hands sliding down my hips, gripping them. My nails dug into his shoulders as he pressed me back against the wall.
"You can tell me to stop," he muttered against my ear. I swallowed hard.
My lips parted, but no words came out. "That's what I thought." He smirked, his lips crashing against mine again. My body trembled as he deepened the kiss, my heart pounding against my ribcage. His hands roamed my body, sliding beneath my shirt and splaying across my bare skin.
"Xavier." An unexpected moan escaped my lips as tingles spread through me.
"Your body knows who it belongs to, Avery," he whispered, his lips trailing down my neck. A soft whimper escaped me as his teeth grazed my skin, sending heat through me. He lifted me effortlessly, pinning me between the wall and his hard body. My legs wrapped around him on instinct, my fingers tangling in his hair. "You're mine," he growled, his voice thick with desire.
Xavier allowed me out for 30 minutes. He set a timer for when I should return. I walked down the courtyard, lost in my thoughts rather than the environment I wanted to see. Xavier didn't sleep with me.
He pulled away in the middle, leaving me wanting him.
"I can't sleep with a slut."
"It's forbidden."
His words pierced my heart like an arrow.
I tried so hard to fight back my tears as he walked out the door, but they rolled down my cheeks.
I slid down the wall, whimpering.
"We attack tonight." The whisper snapped me out of my reverie, drawing my attention to a door on my right. "After killing her, the rogues will attack the pack. He'll be too disoriented to fight, and the pack members will feel insecure, protesting against him as the alpha."
The conspirator strategized.
My heart leaped to my throat, my body trembling as I clamped my hands over my mouth to stop myself from shouting.
"How do we weaken him?"
The second person's voice was deep and venomous.
"Leave that to me. I'll handle him," the first voice said.
The stupid timer Xavier set on me began ringing, my stomach churning. I fumbled to turn it off as I ran off, hoping the conspirators didn't see me. "Xavier!" I shouted, storming into the room, my heart racing. I halted abruptly at the door as a lady was straddling him on the bed.
My stomach twisted as the lady turned out to be Lillian.
She dismounted him, sitting beside him with a sinister smile plastered on her face as she swept her hair aside flirtatiously. "You're 2 minutes late," Xavier said, sitting up and fixing me with a stare. "What should your punishment be now?"
"Make her watch us fuck,"
Lillian suggested, entangling her fingers in his hair. "I think that's a wonderful idea." Xavier smiled, pressing a kiss to her lips. Anger surged through me as I dashed forward, tugging at Lillian's hair and dragging her off the bed. She landed on the floor with a loud thud, a cry escaping her lips.
"Over my dead body,"
I groaned, landing a hot slap across her face. She was thrown back onto the floor, her head smashing against the marble so hard it bled. Xavier didn't interfere. He just watched us.
"Bloody bitch,"
Lillian cursed, wincing as she tried to force herself up. I grabbed the bedside lamp, ready to smash her head with it. "Enough." Xavier's voice stopped me, my hands freezing midair, my chest heaving, my body trembling with anger. Lillian cowered against the wall, her eyes wide with shock. Xavier's command snapped me out of it, and I smashed the lamp onto the floor beside her. A fearful cry tore through her as she crawled away. "It's all because of you," I yelled. "I once called you a friend, and the best way you could repay me was by joining the pack members to mistreat me all these years. As if that wasn't enough, you instigated my mate to reject me with the lies you told him."
"What did I ever do to you?"
"I've endured all your taunts, but not anymore.
I won't let you take my mate like you did with Gloria."
I poured out, tears welling in my eyes.
"Stop talking nonsense,"
she snapped, scrambling to her feet. "You're so good at lying, Avery. You blame others for your misfortune when you're the cause of it. I warned you to keep yourself for your mate, but you chose to sleep with Alpha Sean countless times. I'm saving Xavier from a cursed woman like you." My palm grazed her cheek, whipping her head aside. "I've tolerated enough from you." I groaned, my tone tightening. "You keep spreading false rumors about me when you were the one who set me up with the Alpha.
You made it look like I seduced him. Because of you, he turned me into his punching bag for the past 3 years.
Haven't you done enough?"
"It's not enough,"
she yelled, the veins in her neck standing out.
"My mate desired you instead of me."
"You made me lose him, and you think what you're going through is enough? You've seen nothing yet, not until I see you 6 feet under." "Lillian," Xavier snapped, jerking up.
"It's time for you to leave. I don't ever want to see you near my pack again,"
he declared, his voice distant. "What?" Lillian turned to him, her eyes wide with shock. "You can't do this to me."
"You said."
"Leave." Xavier cut her off, his words final. I stared at Xavier, barely believing my ears.
This was the first time he had supported me.
"This isn't over," Lillian yelled, grabbing her handbag and storming out.
My eyes locked with Xavier's.
Something flashed across his gaze, but it was too fast to comprehend.
I moved closer to him.
"Thank you,"
I muttered, wrapping my arms around his torso.
He hesitated before hugging me back, stroking my hair.
"I'm sorry," he whispered. His words sent shivers down my spine.
I pulled away slightly to look into his eyes. I shouldn't have believed her. Suddenly, something snapped in me as I remembered the conspirators' words. Fear coursed through me, and I hurried to lock the door. "They are coming for me,"
I said.
"They are conspiring against you."
"What are you talking about?"
he asked nonchalantly, sitting back on the bed. "I'm serious, Xavier. I don't know who they were, but they are planning to attack the pack tonight after killing me. They could be the ones who attacked me in the forest. Why do they want to kill me?"
"What did I do to them?" Tears streamed down my face.
"I don't have enemies, Avery,"
he said.
"If they are after you, then you go face them."
My heart sank as I stumbled back.
What do you mean?"
My lips quivered. He jerked up and stormed out of the room.
I stood frozen in place, fear paralyzing me. 2 days later, Xavier asked me to go for a walk. I didn't understand why he was sending me out, even when I refused. It had been 2 days since I overheard the conspirators, yet they hadn't attacked. The sun was setting, the atmosphere tense, my heart skipping beats as I took calculated steps down the corridor.
Maybe they won't attack anymore.
Maybe they've changed plans. Why would Xavier want me out all of a sudden?
Ah!
A sharp cry escaped my lips as a large palm clamped over my mouth, muffling my voice. I struggled, my feet scraping against the cold floor as the attacker dragged me out of sight. "Shh!" Xavier hushed as he pushed me down on a bed. My breath caught in my throat, sweat beading on my forehead. Stay as quiet as you can, and don't step out until I come to get you," he instructed, heading out.
"Xavier." I sprang up, flitting to grab his hand. "Please don't leave me here. I can't protect myself,"
I cried, leaning against his shoulder. "Look at me, Avery,"
he said. I pulled away, locking eyes with him. He cupped my teary face.
"Nothing's going to happen to you.
"I promise."
Don't go,
"Xavier. I'm scared."
they are coming for me," he sighed, pulling me into a hug.
"Do you trust me?"
he asked, stroking my hair.
"No," I muttered. "I implore you to. Just 30 minutes, and I'll come for you."
He pulled away, pressing a kiss to my forehead.
"Will you really come back?"
"I promise."
With that, he left, shutting the door behind him. It felt as though a part of me had left with him.
I moved back to the bed, my heart pounding heavily, my hand clamped over my mouth to muffle my whimpering. It felt like a year since Xavier left, and he hadn't returned. I paced back and forth in the room until I felt dizzy, then dropped back on the bed, burying my face in my palms. "You have to protect him, Moon Goddess. I won't forgive you if anything happens to my mate," I muttered, more tears soaking my hands. I was jolted out of sleep, my head throbbing painfully. I held my head, sitting up, white lights blinding me. "I brought you tea." The warmth that came with those words enveloped me, and I looked up to see Xavier standing over me. Relief washed over me as tears filled my eyes. He put down the cup of tea as I stood on the bed, opening my arms to him. He moved closer, and I enveloped him in a hug, sliding my fingers into his hair from behind.
"I thought I lost you," I muttered. "I was so scared. Why did you stay out for so long? I thought they harmed you. I thought you wouldn't come back for me."
He pulled away slightly, his arms around my waist, his eyes locked onto mine.
"I'm here now." He smiled.
"How did you even think I would be defeated in a battle with rogues? Are you underestimating my strength?"
"You're so arrogant." I chuckled. "I'm sure your soldiers helped you."
"I could have won on my own, but they are charged with protecting their alpha, so yeah, they had to fight alongside me."
"You're right. So, who are the allies?"
He sighed. "And we both Saturday."
"Japheth,"
he mentioned, his tone laced with disappointment and the pain of betrayal. Japheth was his beta and childhood friend.
I never knew he had eyes for the alphahood. He conspired with rogues to kill my first mate. I gasped loudly. I was away on a business trip.
I left her under his care. He allowed rogues to lay an ambush on our pack, and they killed her.
She was just like you, weak and defenseless.
I couldn't protect her, Avery. I didn't know I had a second chance mate until I saw you at the ball. Japheth told me everything about you. I didn't want a weak mate. I blamed the Moon Goddess and hated myself for being destined with women below my social status. At least the daughter of an alpha would be skilled in combat. She wouldn't need my protection, and I wouldn't have to lose her the way I lost Vivian.
He poured out. I had never seen him this emotional before.
I placed my hand on his, and a small smile appeared on his face.
Japheth confessed to everything.
He betrayed my trust because of greed. I loved him just like anyone would love a brother. But today, I had to kill him. I don't like anyone seeing me broken, so I couldn't come to you earlier.
I was at the safe house. He explained. I understand how you feel. I muttered, shifting closer to him.
I'm sorry about your losses, but I'm here now.
I won't leave or betray you.
As for being weak, you'll teach me how to fight, won't you?
Can you handle it? He teased.
The corners of my lips curled into a soft smile.
As long as you promise to take it easy on me. I wrapped my arms around his neck.
Don't train me as you train your soldiers. I'm your woman, except you want me to join the Gamma's men.
I won't allow that.
The Gamma trains the soldiers.
I train my woman. He kissed my hand.
Xavier?
I called, my voice barely audible. He looked over his shoulder at me.
I'm sorry, okay? I was keeping myself for you until the incident with Alpha Sean. I promise, I didn't seduce him. I believe you.
He said. I love you. My heart skipped a beat.
I had looked forward to hearing these 3 magical words from him.
Close your eyes,
I said, excitement laced in my tone as I straddled him, his arms wrapping around my waist to hold me in place.
Why? You want to steal a kiss? He teased. I command you to close your eyes.
He laughed, closing his eyes. My eyes dropped to his lips, tempted to capture them in mine, but my gaze drifted to his neck.
Thank you, Moon Goddess. I muttered, leaning closer.
My fangs elongated as I sighted the right spot to leave my mark on him.
I love you, I whispered before burying my fangs deep into his skin.
His blood pooled in my mouth, my eyes fluttering closed as I sealed the mark with my tongue. I pulled away, meeting his gaze.
Can you say that one more time? He asked.
I gasped as he laid me on the bed, his body hovering over mine. If I don't? Don't moan when I'm buried deep within your core. He taunted, teasing me with kisses.
My stomach fluttered. I love you.
I giggled, heat coursing through me.
One more time.
He demanded as his hand sneaked under my dress, causing me to tremble.
The end. Please like, comment and subscribe for more interesting werewolf romance stories. Lots of love.